I'm Damian Wilmot from Fly By Night Guide Service, and today we are going to tie the Pass Lake, which is old Wisconsin fly that is just an absolute killer on brook trout. It's probably the most used fly for brook trout on the Brule River, and I'm going to tie a variation of it today that works for us. The hook that we're going to use today is a Tiemco 3671 wet fly hook. The tail that we're going to use today is golden pheasant crest, which is one of the variations of this fly that is not true to the standard. The body is going to be peacock herring. And traditionally the wing is tied with white calf tail. But what we're going to do today is use polar bear because of its shininess in the water. It really attracts fish. So we're going to start out, we're going to use red thread, 6/0 unithread for this. And we're going to get a good base of thread down the entire hook shank. I'm going to take a golden pheasant crest feather and we're going to trim a few fibers off of this. I try and keep these fibers as even as possible so they look nice, though it certainly isn't necessary if they get a little crooked or a little. And the tail is usually about half the hook shank I leave sticking out the back of the hook, half the length of the hook shank. So we're going to tie this silver wire in at the back of the hook and make sure you get enough in there to secure it well. This is what's going to hold your body together, because peacock can be a little bit fragile and the silver wire really adds to the durability of this fly. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our peacock and we're going to pull out about 4 or 5 strands of peacock. And the tips tend to be a little bit brittle, so I usually trim about 3/4 of an inch off the tips. And I tie those in fairly close up to the front to add a little bit of bulk to the body also. And we're just going to palmer these up, building a nice even body, maybe tapered, maybe keep the wraps a little bit closer as you go forward to kind of keep it a little bit of a tapered body, a little thicker towards the front. Get a few wraps in the front, then I'll come back around behind and get a few more wraps in front just to keep that nice and secure. So now we're going to come with the wire just over the top. This adds a little bit of sparkle to this fly too when it's in the water, but primarily it's there for securing that peacock body. Just a few twists and that wire usually comes right off. Then we're going to use a brown hen hackle for our hackle, and I'm going to tie that in. Trim off the tag end. I'm just going to make a few wraps. The hen hackle here is important because you want that nice webby, soft, lifelike, life-giving wiggle that the hen hackle provides that a rooster will not. Come forward, If you wrap up over the top, you can usually just pull that out. We got a few stragglers there, so I'm going to just pull that back and come right over the top. Maybe even bring those fibers back a little bit further so they're kind of bending back over the body. Next, we're going to use, again, like I said, normally, traditionally, this is supposed to be white calf tail, but we're going to use polar bear just because of its shine and its back to fish. I usually don't worry about stacking these for wet flies. It's not quite like you need to. But we're going to add this in over the top of the hackle. And I usually go to about the length so the overwing is about even with the tip of the tails in the back. We're going to come over the top. And polar bear is kind of funny. It's really hard. So it's very important to, once you have this tied in and secured, it's very important to secure this with just a little bit of Zap-A-Gap or super glue. You might have to stop this. Okay, so we're going to just add just a touch of Zap-A-Gap to make sure that that wing doesn't slide out once you start fishing it. Don't glue your fingers to it. Just finish the head and whip finish. And there you have the Pass Lake. Now this fly can be fished a number of different ways. On the Brule River, because where we fish it, there's a lot of very slow, very still water. We almost fish it like a little streamer, cast up tight to the banks and strip back just a few feet from the banks, and then you pick it up and you hit the next spot. But in rivers where you have more traditional runs and riffles, it can be fished down and across like a traditional wet fly. I'm not quite sure what it is about this fly that brook trout love so much, but it really is a fly that the brook trout, wherever I've fished this fly, it's been very, very effective.